outside of Outer Ring Road, about 5 kilometers outside of Outer Ring Road. This should again promote the live, work, learn, play kind of self-contained township mode, wherein people necessarily do not have to travel inside of the city. One of the key challenges that I would like to point out with respect to cities in India, not just the city of Hyderabad, but cities in India, is the crumbling urban infrastructure under the onslaught of rapid urbanization. Urbanization is something that we cannot do much about. We'll have to ensure that as we urbanize, because people will move, continue to migrate, continue to urbanize and suburbanize, in search of better livelihoods, in search of better medical opportunities, healthcare opportunities, in search of better educational facilities. The one thing we can do, though, certainly is, like I said, in large cities, we need to plan better public transportation. And in the suburbs, we need to have self-contained townships, which is exactly what the government of Telangana is offering in the form of integrated township policy. While COVID has certainly, brought in a lot of uncertainty across the world and has posed a challenge to humanity, I do know for a fact that we are a very resilient city and a resilient state under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister. Our COVID handling also, in fact, if you look around our neighbors today, all the southern states and Maharashtra included, today, not just the government saying it, but we have several studies which also point out our COVID handling has been much better than many other cities and many other states around the state of Telangana. We also have ensured, in fact, today we look at various cities across the country. There are several basic challenges, water, power, etc. But fortunately for us, under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, we have provisioned adequate water supply for the city of Hyderabad. We've planned for it till the year 2050, for the next 30 years for sure. And this continued growth, continued momentum, combined with progressive policies, will ensure that we continue to attract investments, not only in IT. In fact, I would be remiss not to mention the life sciences sector, which is really, in fact, proved and shaped up to be one of the strengths, one of the core strengths for the city of Hyderabad. Today, if you look at it, in fact, I was waiting for somebody to say it, we're not only the bulk drugs and pharmaceutical capital of the country, we're the vaccine capital of the world. As we all wear our face masks and, as we all keep thinking about COVID and thinking about how the vaccine would save us, I assure you that whatever vaccine, whenever it will come up, Hyderabad will have a vital role to play, because 1/3 of human vaccines across the globe today are produced from our city of Hyderabad. So next time one of your children is getting a vaccine shot, there's 1 in 3 chance it could have been manufactured right here in our city. So life sciences, IT, aerospace, defense, logistics, textiles, name it, food processing, name a sector, we are there, and we will continue to push the envelope when it comes to progressive policy making and also infrastructure. My request to Knight Frank, and also to the customers of Knight Frank who are present right here, you've named a number of good things about Hyderabad and how Hyderabad has been steadily growing and, literally knocking on the doors of the most attractive destinations in the country. And if you look at your competition as well, in fact, I'm talking about Knight Frank's competition, that is the other, real estate players and, managed real estate, companies in your space, we work closely with all of them. My request to Knight Frank is work closely with the government, because there are a lot of policies in the offing. There are a lot of, details that we can share with your prospective customers. Work closely with us in terms of attracting more and more business to our city, and also in the sense of planning and offering the best value proposition for your clients. For instance, instead of western part of Hyderabad, if you choose to invest in the eastern part or the northern part of Hyderabad, we offer multiple benefits which are far more, which outweigh the kind of business proposition the western part of Hyderabad will offer you today. So familiarize yourself with the policies. Please ensure that your clients get adequate exposure to the various incentives that are offered by the government. And I do believe with partners like Knight Frank and others who have, a great ambition to see our state and our city succeed, Hyderabad's growth story will continue and will continue to prosper. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity, and I wish the entire team of Knight Frank all the very best.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Thank you so much for your kind thoughts and for giving us the opportunity of your presence here today. In fact, congratulations on the infrastructure work that you've just announced, as well as the integrated township policy, which I'm sure will go a long way in continuing the growth of Hyderabad. And you're right, it's not only the tech, it's life sciences, it's pharmaceuticals, including banking, etc. And I think it's an all-rounded development which has happened. It would not have been possible only for one sector to have taken the city to where it has today. And congratulations for the same. And the fact that you mentioned that you want the livability index to continue to remain high speaks volumes of your commitment to the city. And I think that's the key. As long as people come here, enjoy, and the livability index remains high and becomes a great place to come, I have no doubt that Hyderabad will remain this numero uno position. Just to give a little more light on what you've said, I'm going to request our National Director, Viral Desai, to just come up and just shed a little light on how commercial real estate has done, and just put some perspective on the numbers that we spoke about commercial real estate. Can I request Viral Desai, our National Director of Occupier Services, to please address the gathering?
Thank you, Shishir. Once again, a very warm welcome to all our clients who are assembled in this room, and also all the clients who joined us virtually. Thank you to the Honorable Minister and Principal Secretary for your kind words. Truly inspiring and insightful. Well, I'm going to give you a quick macro view of what's happening with the commercial real estate market. You know, we are all faced with this COVID situation and how we are today shaping up with the office market absorption. It's not going to be about numbers. It's going to be about macro trends on how things are shaping up for the market. Let me take a step back first and give you a perspective on where we were pre-COVID. So 2019, you know, as most of the speakers have mentioned, across the country, we recorded a gross absorption of about 60 million square feet, led by Hyderabad and Bangalore leading the way, almost clocking 50% of that absorption. The vacancy levels that were recorded across most key markets in India were less than 5%, and rents were generally peaking. In fact, that was a bull run for the last 10 years in India on the office market side. The tone of the market was very landlord leaning. You know, this would be, I'm sure people in the room would subscribe to that. The first part of COVID, April through July, as we know, you know, there was a stalling in overall economic activity. People could not venture out. As a result, there was a huge contraction in demand, and a lot of the transactions were put on hold, decisions were put on hold, but the vacancy levels continued to be less than 5%. We could confirm at that time that new supply of office space will get deferred by 12 months, 18 months, owing to supply chain issues, etc. A lot of the corporate clients were looking at some form of rebate, some form of relief, but there was resilience to any form of rent correction. But the tone of the market had become more balanced. What is the outlook? Well, you know, we would do well, and like any other sector, you know, we may reach close to about 30 million square feet of absorption, given that you almost lost 50% of this year due to lockdown, etc. So there would be a contraction in demand, but there is a clear change in sentiment that is visible. You know, given most people in this room, I'm sure corporate clients are already looking to hire. The question is whether the workforce works from home or office and when the fear quotient comes down. But generally, at this point in time, tenants are looking to restructure their leases. They're seeking more flexibility in their leases. We can feel rents have either been stable or they've corrected. The tone of the market is now more balanced towards the tenant, towards the corporate side, towards the demand side, and landlords are seeming to be far more flexible. What we are also seeing is a fundamental shift in the way business is going to happen over the next 6 to 12 months. You know, pre-COVID, as I mentioned, demand was led by growth. Vacancy levels were less than 5% and rents were rising. most transactions would lead to an expansion, consolidation, in some cases contraction of space. And if a tenant was looking at flexibility in their lease terms, it came at a cost to the landlord. It came at a cost to the tenant. And the tone of the market was more favorable to the landlord. Post-COVID, what we are seeing is, while the rents are stable or marginally decreasing, but the new element is work from home, increased digitization, de-densification, which relate back to square feet. So to propel decision making for corporate clients, you're seeking more flexibility. And I'd like to believe most clients in this room, are looking to hire, but they don't know what is the footprint, what is the composition of how many people will be in office and at home. Having said that, flexibility today will come at a cost to the landlord. So earlier, which was at a cost to the tenant, and that is the fundamental shift. And I think with more and more institutional owners, REITs coming into play, I think that change is something which we are anticipating. The tone of the market is tenant favoring. At the same time, what we can also confirm is over the course of 12 months, large developers today are becoming more and more institutional. And we will see trade in the secondary market and new developments, being on hold for some time. So we feel after 12 months, rents again will start peaking and rising. But over the next 12 months, it's certainly going to be a tenant-leaning market. So that's the tone of the market as we speak. A quick comparison, GFC versus today, on how things stack up. If you look at the global financial crisis, 2007 was similar to 2019, 31st December. We were at an all-time high absorption of about 35 million square feet. And then September 2008, the Lehman crisis happened, and we had a contraction in the overall absorption. And the drop was close to about, overall drop in 16 months was close to about 38%. And then 2010, we again saw a V-shaped recovery. Similar to that, we are already 8 months into COVID, right? The first quarter of 2020, we had, record absorption. And the preceding 3 quarters are where we are right now. We anticipate that, sometime June of 2021, things will be back to where we were like 2019. But what has transpired in the 10 years from the global financial crisis to now, the ownership of commercial real estate has become far more institutional. The quality of developments, as you can see all around us, is far more evolved. Amenities offered in parks are far better. In dollar terms, over a 10-year period, for a multinational company, you're perhaps paying the same rent. The dollar to the rupee in 2009 was 45. The dollar to the rupee today is 75. So if you compare rents in dollar terms in a 10-year period, you are paying the same rent for a higher quality, ownership being more institutional. The other big change that has happened to business is the kind of work that we were doing in the IT sector in India 10 years back was more back office, voice, etc. Today, that work we've gone up higher in the value chain. Data science, R&D, hardcore programming. And the other big change I think is visible in our economy is the companies that were only sending work to India 10 years back perhaps now have a direct India-facing business, the likes of Amazon, Google, so on and so forth. So, and the Indian economy also has grown threefold 10 years hence. So, the fundamentals of the office market continue to be extremely strong. Typically, when the matured markets in the West do well, they spend higher on technology, and you can directly see the benefits of that in cities like Hyderabad. Conversely, when they do bad, owing to cost and India being so attractive, the business still comes to India. So our anticipation is by June 21, we would be back to the same numbers like we were on 31st December 2019. That's our bit on the office market. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Viral. Thank you so much. And with this, we come to an end of our session today. And before I end, it will be amiss if I do not thank the Honorable Minister, Mr. K.T. Ramarao, once again. Thank you so much, sir. Principal Secretary Jayesh Ranjan, thank you so much, sir, for being here today. Minister Rao, it's always a pleasure to hear you. And the vision and the dream.
Okay, this is bad lighting. This is going to make me look really bald with all the hair loss, right? Good evening. Thank you so much for turning up in such large numbers. This is overwhelming, you know. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Ven, Ram, Raju Anna, and to all the Thai Charter members and to everybody that's present here. In fact, as I was getting out of my hotel after a series of meetings all day, the question before me was to be or not to be. To be dressed formally or not to be dressed formally. Well, I figured I'm in the Silicon Valley. I figured, I could get away with probably dressing up informally. But then I said, I'm going to a Thai event. No, I better wear a tie. So that's how I ended up, wearing a tie and all. So anyways, the guys, I should really sincerely thank you because I think what Ven has said really struck a chord, honestly, because the one thing he said, which was remarkable, when India hadn't opened its gates, when India hadn't really chosen the path of welcoming foreign direct investment, liberalization, call it whatever, at that point in time to actually take a stand and say, creating wealth and getting it distributed and creating employment by way of it is a good thing, is actually a great call to make, and congratulate the entire Thai team actually for making it happen. Guys, and the second thing I also know, and I appreciate you guys very much, when anybody of Indian origin, Indian American who's made it successful here, be it in the Valley or elsewhere, I completely understand your mindset because I've lived here myself for a few years, not very long. I lived here for about 7 years. I went to school here, and then I worked here. So I do understand where you come from. When a Thai entrepreneur invests in India, you're not just investing economically, you're not just putting in your money, you're putting in a lot of emotion. You want to give something back to your country. And I think that's what sets Thai apart from the rest of the organizations across the world. So congratulations on completing 25 last year. Congratulations on hosting the Honorable Prime Minister. Congratulations on doing so many wonderful things. I think you've really made us all proud. And today, Thai has a name to reckon with, competing with many, many organizations across the world. And I think you've done remarkably well for yourself. So I think you deserve one good round of applause for the entire team of Thai. Okay, before I go on and introduce the state of Telangana to you, I think I'd rather talk about the story of India today. I think India today actually as a country presents probably the best business case, best business opportunity that nobody in the world can actually ignore. If someone actually ignores the India opportunity, they're only doing it at their peril. If you ask me, just in terms of numbers, it's the fastest growing economy in the world. Let me repeat. India today at 7.3% is the fastest growing economy in the world. India is also, in fact, a huge market in itself. A lot of times we actually overlook this fact. With 1.2 billion and counting and more and more on the way, I think we are, as a country, one of the largest markets in the world. So India's story can't just be about creating a product or being a back office for the rest of the world. India today in itself is a great business opportunity, is a compelling business opportunity, is forcing the world to sit up and take notice. And while the world obviously looks at India, there are certain things which we have to get right. There are certain things which we have to set right. For example, while we do have a large skilled workforce, I do believe that there is scope to do so much better. I do believe that there is so much more we can do in terms of making our young children who are about to graduate readily employable. We produce a great many engineers. But how many of them are readily employable on the day they graduate? Not many, if you ask me. So we have a lot of inherent challenges. We have a lot of very, very interesting programs. Skill India, Digital India, Clean India, Green India, Startup India. A lot of very, very ambitious programs. And for a country like India, if it really has to break into the big league, we are on the cusp of breaking into the big league. We are on the cusp of exploding actually in terms of growth and actually breaking into the big league. But if we have to get there, if we have to be there and if we have to be taken seriously by the world, I think we have to get certain things right. And that is where I think technology comes into play. Technology today is such a great leveler. It gives the young Indians today an opportunity to compete because the world is flat when it comes to technology. The world is flat in the sense the next big breakthrough, irrespective of where you're from, irrespective of whether you're from India, United States, Israel, UK, Turkey, Timbuktu, doesn't matter. As long as you have an idea that you can make work. I think today the world presents a fantastic opportunity which definitely India needs to absorb and take that as a fantastic opportunity. And that's where what the United States, I believe in this very, very strongly. What the United States was able to do in 50 years, I think India is capable of doing it in the next 15 years. That is because of technology, that is because of the opportunity that we have, and that definitely is because of the young Indian entrepreneurs. In fact, when our Honorable Chief Minister, a fighter himself, a man who fought for the state of Telangana for about 14 long years, when he was at the World Economic Forum at Dalian, the Summer Economic Forum in China, this is what he has said. He spoke on behalf of the country. He didn't speak on behalf of Telangana. He said, a lot of people think India is at a crossroads. That's not true anymore. India has chosen a path of reforms, and we are moving at a great speed. Trust me, there are some really good things happening. When Wen said, we want our politicians to speak the language of business. We want to look up to our politicians. I think he's absolutely right. What do we want from our political class today? We want certain changes to be effected. We want them to basically understand and realize the young Indians, the aspirations